Hi everybody and welcome to today's virtual session. As always, lovely to be here. My name is Emma Morrissey and I am a fine artist and art tutor. And very pleased to continue the amazing work that Creative Wellness Journey and Debbie has been doing. So today I wanted to talk to you about a wonderful, relaxing art technique known as neurographic art. And things similar to this have been used in many things, from art therapy to different sort of relaxing, well-being style art sessions. And it's one of the art styles that I teach, and I'm really excited to tell you a bit more about it. So basically, a few years ago, back in 2014, a Russian psychologist known as Pavel Piskarev, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, started to develop this technique in a bit more detail. Now, this is an example here that I wanted to show you. And basically, it is a combination of making loads of different swirly lines and then making some of them a little bit thicker and then colouring them in. And you can do that in any medium, but for today's session, what I thought we would do is keep it nice and simple by just using a felt tip pen of any description and some colouring pencils. Now, you can use any pencils that you like. This is just a set that I've got. It doesn't matter what brand you use for this, but I will talk to you a bit more about getting the most out of your pencils. So first things first, a piece of sketching paper is what we are going to need. And any sketching paper will do. I use what's known as mixed media paper, and it's very good for all sorts of different things. It's brilliant for using pencil. It's good for watercolour paint, acrylic, ink, soft pastel. The only thing you can't use mixed media paper for is oil paint. But apart from that, it's wonderful. But as I said, for this, any sketch paper, even a piece of printer paper will work fine for this. Okay, and what you want to do is just get a felt tip pen. I've just got one here that's double-ended. What we're going to do is we are going to do a swirly design. Okay, and the one thing you might want to think about when you're doing this type of art is to try and get it to go to the very edges. Alright, so I'm just going to make some random swirls here and there, and then I'm going to go off the page, and then I'm going to start again over here and just make some loop designs. And you can do as much or as little as you like. All right, so this is your basis. This is the first thing you want to do. And then what you want to do is look at every time a line crosses over another one. And then where that happens, if I zoom in a little bit for you, you just want to make that little bit a bit thicker. All right, so we can see here that we've got some crossovers. All right, so basically what it's doing is this style of art is supposed to maybe look a little bit like cells in the body. Okay, so we're just going to, wherever you see a crossover point where a line crosses over another line, we're just going to make them a little bit thicker. Alright, and then do that all the way over. Alright, and you can be as detailed as you like with this. Now, I'm working to A5 size with this, so I'm working quite small, but you can do this any size you like. And it is quite relaxing because you do really start to get into it. As I said, there's no sort of real right and wrong. The only thing that is suggested is wherever you see a line crossing over, so here we've got another one looping over here, is we just make that a little bit thicker, like that. And just go over the lines a little bit more. Okay, so it's a nice, relaxing, mindful art technique. And again, as I've said, it can be any pattern you like. You can have loads and loads of swirls, you can have large swirls, you can have small swirls, whatever you feel you would like to do. And then the aim of this is just to try and have some of these swirls a little bit thicker in some of the corners where the lines are crossing over, like so. Alright, so we can see it starting to build now. And you can make these little crossovers sort of large ones like this. You can do sort of little smaller ones. Similar in a way to sort of a spider web sort of design here as well. So as I said, you want to make this as unique to you as possible. What you also might want to do at this stage is, while you're just sort of drawing and creating these swirls, is think about what type of colours you want to use. So if you want to use sort of bright colours, if you want to use all the colours you have available, if you want to use just a couple of colours. Alright, so I'm going to do mine quite simple, just to show you. Alright, and you can build this up as much or as little as you like. You can add more lines, add more swirls. Okay, and you'll find the more you do this, you'll find more little crossovers as well. You'll think, oh, I've missed one. So there's one there, look. There's another one there. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to leave that like that for now, and I'm going to move on to showing you a little bit about how to use colour pencils. Okay, so as I said, this is the set that I've got here. It doesn't matter which ones you've got, the most basic or some more sort of premium sets, whatever you feel that you want to use will be absolutely fine. But I'm going to show you a couple of little tips first. I'm just using a red pencil. So to get the most out of pencils, especially if you do have a basic set, there are ways of getting the absolute best out of them. One of the things you want to do is think about pressure technique. And we also do this with graphite, normal lead pencils. All right, so if I turn this over just for a second, just to show you. So if we hold the pencil right down near the tip, we can add more pressure and we get a more vibrant tone of colour. Okay, if I bring that a bit closer so you can see. Now if we hold it a little bit further up, we'll have less ability to apply pressure. So we should get a lighter colour. Okay, and the same, if you keep moving your hand up the pencil, you'll get lighter and lighter tones of colour. Alright, and that is a very, very basic way of getting various different tonal values, so different tones of the same colour. Now this is wonderful when you're creating something like this, because it will allow you to have areas where you're using one colour, but you'll have what's called a gradient. So you can see here where this blue colour is. If I get a blue pencil, it will be a little bit more obvious here. So you've got blue here, which is a bit darker, and then it gradually fades and gets lighter and lighter as we go over here. And same with this, so you can apply that with pencil. Now this has been done with watercolour paint, but you can do the same thing with pencil. So if I do this again with this blue colour, if I hold it right near the tip, you'll get more colour because you're able to apply more pressure. Okay, again, move my hand up a little bit. It gets lighter, move it up again, and it will get lighter and lighter and lighter as you go. So it's a way of getting various different colours. Now with that said, we can apply that to this And what works quite nicely is where sort of you've got the little corners here which are quite dark, you can apply a bit more pressure, get a bit more colour going in there. So you can be a little bit more intense, and then you can just move your hand up and cover the rest of it with that lighter colour. So you're creating a gradient. And as I said, a gradient is basically where a colour will start off a little bit more vibrant, a bit deeper, and then it will get lighter and lighter. So you'll see like a gradual fade. Let's do the same thing here. Add a bit of pressure and move your hand up so it gets lighter and lighter. As I said, you can use as many colours as you like. But that is one of the top tips that I give when I'm teaching people how to use colouring pencils. And as I said, any colouring pencils. The main thing is if you find that you really, really like using colouring pencils, then you will probably see there are many different brands of pencils you can get. And basically the difference is some of them, the colours will be a little bit creamier in texture, so you'll get more vibrant tones of colour. And you'll have some which are maybe a little bit more basic, and the colours will be a little bit harsher. You might find them harder to blend. And that's what a lot of artists are looking for when they're sort of buying what you call the more premium colour pencils, is they're looking for colours that blend well and that layer well. But for something like this, it really doesn't matter too much. You can use anything you like. And as I said, once you know little tips like that, sort of different pressure points on the pencil, you can really get the most out of the most basic, cheaper pencils out there. So you don't need to go out and spend lots and lots of money on all sorts of different bits and pieces. Okay, so again, I'm going to apply a bit more pressure here, and then I'm going to get a little bit lighter. As I said, this form of art, neurographic art, is known to be very relaxing because it is very, very simple. It's something that you can do. I find often if you want to do something that's sort of gives you a bit of relaxation, it's good to just experiment with colour and pattern, so you're not actually doing anything specific. And as I said, because this is also used in things like art therapy, it can be wonderful just to sort of help with things like anxiety. If you're struggling, it can really give you some relaxation. Also keeps your hands busy if you find you get quite restless. Alright, so I've now just moved to green. Again, use as many colours as you like. So again, I'm applying more pressure here, and then I'm going to move up here, just colour in the rest. And you can also probably notice the difference in the way I'm moving my hand. If you want to do like a large part, if I want to do the background here, for example, you can just hold it up here so you've got a looser grip, and that will help you to fill areas quicker. And you'll get that sort of pale, more pastel tone out of the pencil as well. You can go over it several times like this, going backwards and forwards. That will build up the tone a little bit more. Whereas if you were to do that same technique but hold it down, you'll be able to see more of the pencil grain. So this gives more of a subtlety to the colour which is coming out, and you can just go over bits that you might want to be a little bit more intense in colour. Right, so just little tips like that, going backwards and forwards, but holding it quite far up. You get that nice subtlety to the colour. Okay. You can also leave some of the background white if you wanted to. You can cover all of it. As I said, there's absolutely no reason why you couldn't just do one colour and just do several tones of that colour if you wanted to. That can also look quite nice. You don't have to sort of do too many colours if you don't want to. Or, as I said, you can do absolutely all of the colours that you have available and make it really, really bright and colourful. It's completely up to you. All right, so I'm doing mine quite quickly just to show you in this virtual session, but absolutely take your time with this. You can, you know, be as free as you want with it, to spend as long as you like on it. Sometimes it's quite nice to do some pieces which are much larger, and you can sort of do a little bit of it each day and sort of come back to it, particularly if you're doing quite a large sort of A3 or A2 size piece. Sometimes it's nice to have something that's ongoing that you can come back to and add a bit more to. So then you've got something ready to go to if you need that sort of little bit of time out, something nice to relax. Right, but whilst you're doing it, always just try and keep a gentle note on what your hand is doing, what movements that hand is making when you're sketching, because that will really help you when you're doing all sorts of different things and experimenting with colour, so you can see what type of movements your wrist will be making whilst you're doing different types of marks, different mark making. I'm going with an orangey colour now. I'm just literally picking these colours at random. Maybe, pick your absolute favourite colours that you really, really like. Colours that represent different things to you. As I said, you can see my wrist is making a much larger movement now because I'm filling a much larger space in the drawing, and then sort of making smaller wrist movements here because it's a little bit more concentrated, and then bigger movements. So little things like that you probably wouldn't notice, but they make a real difference when you're sort of learning different drawing, sketching and blending techniques. They really make a huge, huge difference. All right, so nearly done. And let's do this one here. I'm going to put a bit more pressure here, and then lighter, and a bit more. So anything that you see is sort of a bit of a corner, so to speak, that's where you want to have the pressure. All right, I'm going to do a little bit more around the outside here, just so you can see. And there you go. So very, very quick, basic demonstration for you just on how you can do neurographic art, and some of the ways that you can attempt that just with something simple like a felt tip pen and any colouring pencils that you've got, and just have something that you can do that is relaxing. So I hope you found this interesting and helpful, and I'll hopefully see you soon for another virtual session.